Tissue isn't found on a prescription pad. It's found in nature. It's applied topically. And when used correctly, it has the power to awaken circulation, restore nerve response, and make your most private area feel supple, warm, and alive again. This one daily habit could change how you feel about your body, starting this week. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the exact oil to use, how to apply it, the changes you can expect day by day, and 3 easy ways to multiply its benefits. If you've been feeling a little less like yourself lately, stay with me. What you're about to learn might just change everything. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Tap that button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another women's health tip designed specifically for women like us. And if this message speaks to you, even just a little, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and let me know how I can better support you on your journey. Why do most women over 60 struggle with desire and energy? I see it all the time. Women in their 60s and beyond sitting in my office, quietly frustrated, sometimes even ashamed. They're not the same women they used to be. Not physically, not intimately. They don't always say it out loud, but I can hear it in their voices and see it in their posture. The spark feels gone. Their bodies don't respond the way they once did, and they've convinced themselves this is just how aging works. But let me be very clear. It's not that simple. What's happening down there isn't some mysterious curse that comes with age. It's a slow biological shift. As we get older, the blood vessels in our pelvic region, the arteries and capillaries that feed oxygen-rich blood to the vulva, clitoris, and vaginal walls, start to narrow. The estrogen that once kept these tissues plump, moist, and elastic slowly fades. Without that steady blood flow and hormonal support, you lose not just function, but also feeling. Your sensitivity dulls. Sex can become uncomfortable, even painful. The natural lubrication you once took for granted becomes rare or disappears altogether. Nerve endings that once lit up with the slightest touch now need more and more stimulation to respond. And here's the part no one talks about. With less blood flow and lower nerve response, your brain starts disconnecting from your body in that region. It doesn't feel like yours anymore. For many women, that sense of identity, the quiet confidence that comes from being sensually alive, is what slips away first. And it hurts. Not just in the bedroom, but in the mirror, in your marriage, in your mindset. Now, I'll tell you something personal. My own mother, a vibrant, joyful woman who spent her life as a teacher, once told me in a quiet moment, "Honey, it's like a part of me just went to sleep and never woke up. I feel like I'm drying up from the inside out." That stuck with me, not because it was tragic, but because I knew it didn't have to be this way. She didn't need a miracle. She needed circulation, stimulation, and restoration. And when we gave that to her, when we activated her body the right way, she came back to life. Not just below the belt, but in spirit. This decline isn't about age. It's about attention. The female body still wants to respond. It's waiting for the right signal. And as you'll soon see, that signal doesn't have to come from a prescription. It can come from something far more natural, more ancient, and more powerful than most women realize. In fact, it might already be sitting in your kitchen cabinet waiting for you to rediscover it. So now the question becomes, what is this forgotten remedy? And how can it restore the sensation and response you once had? Let me show you. The forgotten oil that revives tissue below the belt. I'll never forget the day I introduced this oil to one of my longtime patients, Eleanor. A 72-year-old retired nurse, Eleanor was the kind of woman who carried herself with quiet grace, shoulders back, voice soft, eyes always scanning for someone else's needs before her own. She had spent most of her life caring for others, both professionally and personally. She had raised 3 children, nursed her husband through his final illness, and mentored dozens of young nurses in her career. But on that particular morning, it wasn't her usual calm demeanor that I noticed. It was the heaviness in her voice. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dr. Jen Gunter, I don't feel like a woman anymore." It wasn't said with drama. There were no tears. Just the quiet resignation that comes from years of slowly fading sensation, subtle shame, and unspoken grief. I've heard similar words before. Many women past menopause, especially those no longer sexually active, talk about feeling invisible, disconnected from their bodies, or like something essential inside them has gone numb. But when Eleanor said it, it struck me differently. Maybe because I saw the spark still in her eyes, the part of her that hadn't fully given up. She didn't want to age passively. She wanted to feel alive again. And so I asked her a simple question. What if there was something natural that could help restore that connection? No hormones, no prescriptions, just an oil. She raised an eyebrow, skeptical but intrigued. Oil, she asked. You mean something I just apply myself? I nodded. Exactly. But not just any oil. This one's special. What I gave her was a blend of rosemary essential oil diluted in a base of sweet almond oil. Something I've recommended many times, but still find awe-inspiring in its effects. It's so simple, almost deceptively so. Most people think of rosemary as something that goes on roasted potatoes or in Sunday stew. But if you peel back the layers of history, you'll find that rosemary has long been a plant of reverence in Mediterranean medicine cabinets. For centuries, it was used not just for cooking, but as a circulatory stimulant, an anti-inflammatory, and even a mood enhancer. Modern science is now starting to validate what our grandmothers and great-grandmothers already knew. Rosemary oil contains bioactive compounds like cineol, camphor, and rosmarinic acid. These natural elements don't just smell lovely, they interact with the body in remarkable ways. They help relax and widen blood vessels, allowing more oxygen-rich blood to reach tissues that have long been neglected. That's particularly important for areas like the vulva and clitoris, where aging can lead to decreased circulation, dryness, and diminished nerve sensitivity. When applied externally to the labia, clitoral hood, and surrounding skin, this diluted oil doesn't just sit on the surface. It seeps in gently, like a whisper to the nerves beneath. For many women, it reignites something they thought was lost forever. And it doesn't feel clinical, it feels alive. Not a burn, not a tingle, but a gentle hum, a warmth, like the first rays of sun on your skin after a long winter. That's exactly how Eleanor described it to me the following week. It was like there was a soft humming under my skin again, she said. Not painful, just alive. And she wasn't imagining it. What she was feeling was increased microcirculation, the rekindling of nerve response, and the slow but steady return of tissue vitality. She wasn't just moisturizing. She was reawakening. But let's step back a moment, because this isn't just about the oil or even the physical benefits. It's about what happens emotionally and psychologically when a woman takes time to care for this part of herself. For too long, we've treated female genital health as taboo, something hidden under euphemisms, neglect, or shame. Many women go decades without looking at themselves down there, let alone touching with intention or tenderness. It's no wonder that over time, the area starts to feel foreign, like a stranger's body. But what if we reframe that? What if applying a natural oil became more than a step in a wellness routine, and instead became a small act of reclamation? That's what I see happen over and over with women like Eleanor. The moment they begin applying the oil with care, not out of desperation, but out of love, something shifts. It becomes a ritual, a quiet one, private and sacred, not for anyone else's eyes or pleasure, just their own. You don't need to be partnered. You don't need to be sexually active. You just need to be willing to listen to your body again. And through that ritual, just a few minutes a day, you begin to rewrite the story that aging has to mean fading. The rosemary oil becomes a bridge between what was and what still can be. I had another patient, Marla, in her late 60s, who used to blush any time we discussed vaginal health. When I recommended rosemary oil to her, she hesitated. "But I haven't done anything like that in years," she whispered. "Isn't it too late for me?" It's never too late. That's the lie we've been sold, that after a certain age, we are no longer sensual, or deserving of touch, or capable of feeling that inner spark. But our bodies are designed for regeneration. All they need is circulation, intention, and care. Within weeks, Marla reported a difference, not just in comfort, but in how she saw herself. "I feel feminine again," she told me, smiling shyly. I didn't realize how much I missed that feeling. These moments matter, not just because of what's happening physically, but because of what's being restored emotionally. Confidence, connection, and control. That's something no hormone pill can deliver. Of course, safety matters. Rosemary essential oil is powerful, which is why it must be diluted, usually a 1 to 2% concentration in a gentle carrier oil like almond, jojoba, or coconut oil. A patch test is always recommended first, and it's not for internal use, just external application to the vulva and surrounding skin. But when used correctly, it can be transformative, and you don't need a prescription, just a willingness to believe that your body still belongs to you. So if you felt distant from yourself, if you've resigned to the idea that vitality is something you once had but can never reclaim, consider this your invitation to return, to reconnect, to remember, like Eleanor did, because the truth is, this oil is not just about healing tissue. It's about waking up. It's about whispering to your body, "You're still here. You're still whole. You're still a woman." And that is something worth honoring every single day. Somewhere along the path of womanhood, many women are quietly taught to let go. Let go of their bodies, their desires, their sensuality, and even their sense of identity. Society gently whispers that after a certain age, a woman becomes less seen, less needed, less alive. And over time, these whispers can turn into truths that settle into the skin like dust, until one day, a woman looks at herself in the mirror and wonders when she stopped feeling like herself. But the truth is this: you never stopped being a woman. You never lost your worth. You never lost your spark. It was only waiting for you to return to it. What we sometimes forget is that the body remembers. Even when the world forgets us, even when age tries to convince us that pleasure, softness, and vitality are behind us, the body knows different. It's not too late. It never was. Something as simple and sacred as a few drops of rosemary oil can become the turning point. Not because it's magic, but because you are. When you take time to care for a part of yourself that's been neglected or silenced, you send a powerful message. I matter. This part of me matters. Applying that oil isn't just about moisture or circulation or nerve response. It's about presence. It's about reclaiming your right to feel alive in your skin, to honor your feminine energy, not as something lost in youth, but as something evolving in strength. It's a private ritual, yes, but it's also a revolution. A quiet one, done in the privacy of your bathroom, in the soft light of the evening, when no one's watching, but your body is listening. And over time, something incredible happens. Not only does sensation return, but so does confidence. So does joy. So does a deep, unshakable sense of ownership. You stop waiting for external validation or medical permission to feel whole. You remember that you already are. Eleanor's story is not unique. It belongs to thousands of women who have been waiting, often silently, for someone to remind them that they're still worthy of touch, still capable of pleasure, still full of life. So if you take nothing else from this, let it be this. Aging is not a loss of femininity. It's a deepening of it. You don't need to reverse time. You only need to reconnect with your body, your beauty, your power. You are not done. You are just beginning again. And all it might take is one forgotten oil and the radical decision to love yourself forward. If today's message spoke to you, I invite you to take a moment to like this video. It helps bring this important conversation to more women who may be silently facing the same struggles. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell so you never miss out on future insights about women's health, natural wellness, and feeling confident and connected at every stage of life. I truly love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever tried natural methods to support your intimate wellness? Did anything I shared today resonate with your own journey? Or is there something you wish more women felt comfortable talking about openly? Your story matters, and by sharing it, you might just help another woman realize she's not alone. Remember, growing older isn't about fading. It's about evolving, rediscovering, and reconnecting with the power within you. You deserve to feel good in your skin, to honor your needs, and to celebrate the woman you continue to become. Thank you for being here. You are seen, you are valued, and you are still full of life. With warmth and care, Dr. Jen Gunter.